You've ever had it like, has anybody here ever been in an argument with their wife and because of it, they got zero production at work that day? Or is it just me? Maybe it was just me. Like your relationship will affect your workplace 100%. Then your relationship will affect your weight, how you show up in fitness, right? So the reason that we approach life and we don't just talk about fitness by itself is because at this point, we've all learned that our fitness affects our relationship, affects our finances. That if our finances are tough, it's hard to stay fit, right? They're all related. And so that's why when you get into the program, we talk about the 4 areas. Does everybody know the 4 areas? Raise your hand if you don't know them. Body, being, balance, and business. To be honest, there's probably a lot of ways to cut it up, but that's just a simple way we cut it up here. Your body, your health, right? Your being, your spirituality, your fitness, which is your physical body, and then your business, which is your finances. The relationships was the 4th one. And so each area of life, we assign 2 disciplines. So for your physical body, there's a mobility discipline and there's a water discipline, getting a gallon of water. You might do more for your body, but those are the core habits that build power in your body. Staying hydrated, staying mobile, and of course you'll have your workout, right? Relationship, there's 2 disciplines that we learn. In your finances, there's 2 disciplines that we learn. So today I want to go over the discipline that we put into the finance area or business area or vocation area. So who has you like that, Ramey? Right on. Yeah.
Yes.
And let me just preface this one. Like one of my mentors 10 years ago, he wrote a book called The Slight Edge. I don't know if any of you guys have ever read The Slight Edge, but The Slight Edge, he presented this idea that huge transformation happens in a very small habit done over time. That if you establish in yourself, and I've noticed it in myself, I've learned French, Spanish, German, I've learned several languages, and it wasn't because I studied it overnight. It was because 1, I was living in the country, which made it much, much easier. And it was 2, because I studied a certain way every day for 3 to 6 months, and that was the way I could learn the language. Everything that I've learned worthwhile has been studying it a little bit over time. Every single worthwhile skill that I've developed in my life has just been by the grace of staying consistent with something. And so the discipline that we have for business is called Discover and Declare. For those of you who are like, hey, I don't know what you're talking about, you will, because it's going to show up in your account soon. You're going to see the Discover and Declare habits show up inside of your account. Who already has them? Discover and Declare. Anybody already have them? No? Nobody? Select one thing that you think, hey, this skill or this area of knowledge would move the needle for me. If it's not business, if you're not a business owner, it could be for your job. And if it's not your job, you can just choose something you're interested in. That's fine. But choose one item and choose a book. I'm going to show you how I do it. I've always got a book with me. For example, I'm reading this one right here, The Prosperous Coach. Great book for coaches. So my Discover task, I pick a time during the day. I carry it around in my Merce, so I'm always reading it, but I pick a time in the day. It's great if you want to read fiction, but this is a time for you to say, there's an area of my life that I can better myself. Whether it's your job, maybe it's your spirituality. For me, I've always got one book about spirituality and one book about my job, and I rotate. I read about my job, and then I read about my spirituality. Those are my 2 main focuses. Making money and connecting with God, like the 2 polar opposites. And then when you read your book, that's called the Discover task. 10, 15 minutes of reading a book that interests your skill, that's the Discover task, right? This may not seem like a small thing, but the compound effort of you studying something that's going to better your life and getting into a habit will make you a 1%er in life. It will set apart who you are. Just 15 minutes. But the fact that you're deliberately expanding your skill, your wisdom is going to make you a one percenter. So get in the habit of making that who you are now. And then in 20 years, 10 years, 5 years, a year from now, sky's the limit. If you were like, hey, I'm going to learn a language each year, you can learn a language just by doing something this simple, doing it properly, whatever it is. One of my mentors in reading and writing recently told me, his name's Scott Shepper, and he had this idea that the reason you take notes by hand is because when you take notes slowly, you get more insight. He has this idea of intentionally slowing down in order to cultivate the moment better. He kept hitting me with it. And finally I was like, damn, slowing down is a superpower. And getting things in your habit in your daily life to intentionally slow down is like a life hack. And so when I started, so I'll do my 15 minutes of reading, and I have what I call it a bib note. I have a note inside of my book. And when I have, so you got your discover, the second part is declare. So every time you do your reading, you just make one note on that note paper. That could be something you're going to remember and, oh, that's a game changer idea. So read your book, but you got your declare card. And in your declare card, you're just writing what you learn. All right. So I have one for this one. I have one for all of them. And I keep, these are really interesting because you read the book and now I scan through my cards and I see what I've learned. And eventually from that book, I gather one takeaway, right? I just keep cultivating knowledge that way. So just put a card in there, your discover card, do your reading, and your writing could take you a minute, literally. It could take you 30 seconds, could take you 5 minutes, but write something that you're taking away from that reading every day. So somebody recently gave the feedback, hey, would be awesome if there was like a reading portion of our course. This is the reading portion. So you got your selection. Don't be flippant about your selection. If some of you guys are like, hey, still need to learn this program better, I'm having trouble with my food prep, I'm having trouble with my exercises, choose something like that. Or reach out to me and be like, hey, this is the area that I still need the most help in, and we'll select something, or I'll give you content that I may have. I may have some content, right? But select carefully, select prayerfully where you're going to spend that knowledge time. And then get your book, get your Audible, get your podcast, whatever it is you want to study, but study for a particular goal. You select a topic that you care about and you read 15 minutes, same time, same place every day, right? What's the declare? Declare means you extract one knowledge or action step you're going to do from that reading, right? We want to be selecting something. Like I've read some stupid, like The Secret Life of Fungus. Okay. Great. I loved the book, but that was probably not one that should have been on Discover and Declare, even though it was a kind of a game-changing book for me, but that's probably not one that should have been there. But think about that. And I just invite you to take your selection process like lethally serious. Like you're about to select a book you're going to read for the rest of the month, right? You've got one plant you can grow, one seed you can grow. So choose it wisely.
Yeah.